Hey everyone, my name is Justin, aka Ghost Reader, and it's been a while since I've done a video, and that's because I had to suddenly leave town last week. And then when I got back, my car broke down, so I have to now use the time that I would film in the mornings to basically commute. And so that's why there haven't been any videos over for almost a week. But now I'm back, and so today I'm going to do my TBR for February, my wrap-up video for what I have read in January. Will be going up tomorrow. I still have to film it. I don't have enough time today to do it, but I will do that tomorrow for you, so you can hear what I have to say about my reads for January. I did complete them all, which is good. So for February, since February in the United States is Black History Month, which is the time in which we pay special attention to African American and Black history, I'm going to read books that are basically are written by Black authors and that kind of follow the African American experience in America. So basically the books start from like slave times and move all the way up to the present. I'm still following my TBR format, in which I have one nonfiction, at least one nonfiction, one fiction book, and one graphic novel, and then like a whatever book from whatever of those genres I have. And actually, this month I actually have one more additional book because there are only 4 weeks in February, but I am going to try to read 5. So let's go ahead and get down to it. And my first book that I'm going to be reading for the African American Experience TBR this month is going to be the classic slave narratives, and this is actually basically 4 books in one. It is edited by Henry Louis Gates Jr., who was a professor at Harvard. So basically, there are 4 slave narratives in this book. They're collected in this book. One by Olaudah Equiano, Mary Prince, Frederick Douglass, and the last one, Harriet Jacobs. And so they chronicle their times of slavery, what they went through, and basically they did this for an audience that they were trying to show the horrors of slavery, what they went through, and why slavery should not be something happening in the United States. So I look forward to reading this. I actually picked this up at the African Burial Ground in New York, which is a national site. They were building a new building in New York City, and they came across a burial ground that ended up being a burial ground for slaves in New York back in I believe the 1600s. So now it's a national site. You can go there. They have like a small museum talking about slavery in the early days of colonial New York, which was actually at that time Dutch, and then was taken over by the English later on. And you can also they have outside they have you can see like basically raised mounds where they have placed some of the bodies. So it's an interesting place if you're ever in New York and you want to see it. So moving on from that, my second book I'm going to read is Beloved. I mentioned this before in another video, and basically it's by Beloved by Toni Morrison. It chronicles the experiences of a woman, I think her name is Sefta. She starts out as a slave, but the Civil War happens and she gains her freedom, but she still has to deal with the trauma and the stuff that she did in slavery, and trying to not only her but also her partner as well, from what I have heard of the story. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I haven't read Toni Morrison before, and I really want to read something by her, and Beloved is the one that I happened to find, so I look forward to reading this. Next book that I'm going to read, I have on my Amazon Kindle, is Native Son. And Native Son, from what I remember, because I have previously read it before, but I didn't finish it because I got distracted. Not because it wasn't good, because I got distracted by life. But Native Son was written by Richard Wright, I believe, and basically it chronicles a black man living in America, which in an America that says that, at least on paper, that African Americans are equal rights, but still are treated as second-class citizens. And there are just rules, both written and unwritten, that African Americans must follow as second-class citizens, and kind of chronicles him trying to find his way in life and meeting these walls, and it actually ends up culminating with him committing a terrible crime. Which actually, I believe, brought the author a lot of flack back in the day, because they were like, why would you show African American committing this particular crime, because it was considered to be so horrible. but he was trying to make a point, a social commentary about what life was like for an African American and what that might continually putting down the community might do to people and cause people in that community to do. So I'm really looking forward to finishing this book this time. Oh wow! I just remembered that's actually 6 books this month. I think I'm pushing it a bit here, but I hope I can get through them all. So Native Son is going to be one of the books that I read. Next book I'm going to read is going to be James Baldwin's The Fire Next Time. This book is relatively short, so I shouldn't have a problem reading this one. I can probably knock this out in a day. Just basically 2 letters that he's written. One of them I know is a letter that he wrote on the 100th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation to his nephew. And basically, he's talking about racial injustice in America and the civil rights movement. I'm just going to read the blurb on the back. A national bestseller when it first appeared in 1963, The Fire Next Time galvanized the nation and gave passionate voice to the emerging civil rights movement. At once a powerful evocation of James Baldwin's early life in Harlem and a disturbing examination of the consequences of racial injustice. The Fire Next Time is an intensely personal, provocative document. It consists of 2 letters written on the occasion of the centennial of the Emancipation Proclamation that exhorts Americans, both white and black, to attack the terrible legacy of racism. So, I haven't read anything by James Baldwin, but I know he's written like really good stuff. So I'm really excited actually to read something by James Baldwin for the first time. So that is like kind of in like the civil rights era. The book before, like Native Son, is kind of in like the early 1900s, where African Americans were kind of just like, all right, you know, you're citizens on paper, but not much else. So that basically moves from that era with James Baldwin into the era where African Americans are beginning on a larger scale to fight for their civil rights. The next book I'm going to read is actually a book of poetry by basically this The Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. It's won a number of awards: National Book Award, Newbery Honor Book, Coretta Scott King Award. So it looks to be a well-awarded book. My mom actually bought this and gave it to me. She heard I was doing like a TBR based on African American with the theme of African American experience in the U.S. So basically, this is a book of poetry. She's detailing her life throughout the 60s and 70s as a young girl who's coming of age in the United States. So this kind of covers like the civil rights era in the 60s and kind of afterwards in the 70s as well. So poetry isn't something I normally read. I read like my first book of poetry last month, which was Milk and Honey. So this is going to be my second one. So maybe poetry will become a staple here on my channel. I don't know. And then the last book I'm going to read is actually a graphic novel. Well, actually it's single issues, but it's collected, the first volume of it. And that's going to be Black. This is set in modern times, contemporary times, and basically the main character is basically shot down by police officers, and he doesn't die though because he has superpowers, and he later finds out that only black people in this world can get superpowers, and you see the implications of that. And basically it's kind of a social commentary of the modern world with this added element of, you know, only black people getting superpowers. So I actually read this. It was pretty cool, pretty good. I'm only showing the first issue because the other issue covers are quite provocative, but quite thought-provoking as well. And kind of one of them is actually kind of funny. So that is it for my TBR, my African American experience TBR. So I hope to get through them all. I'm actually reading about 6 different books this month. So I hope to finish them all and have a good wrap up for you at the end. What are you reading this February? Please comment down in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more content from me, please subscribe. And before I go today, I want to give a BookTube shout out, because the StrikeBackVideoathon is still going on, where we support smaller BookTubers here in the community. So I'm going to shout out LeslieReadsBooks. I will have a link down in the description below to her channel, so go check out her channel. She recently did a video on the libraries that she wants to visit that was really good. So with that, I hope you guys have a good day, a good week, and as always, keep reading.